What's up everybody, Smyers here. Today I want to show you how to make that big bass horn sound that you hear in Freak by Meduza and GENESI. I took that video when Meduza invited me to see them at Escape, which is like this Halloween themed festival that happens in Los Angeles. It happened around October. So they've been playing this song out for a few months and they've been like hyping it up. And this big bass horn sound is the big moment of the song. And I only heard it like played out. So I was excited to actually hear the recorded version. And what I noticed about this recorded version is that it actually sounds very clean in the recorded version, and I only really use like one saw wave and then some reverb, some saturation. Very simple to create this sound, but when they played it out, like when you hear this sound actually being played in front of a huge audience, it's just like this really big sound. So that just shows you like how important that it is to actually be able to play your music out and hear how sounds will sound like in a club atmosphere, or if you can get a chance to do it in like a festival atmosphere, because that can help you like sound design specific sounds. So I just want to play you what I came up with. I'll play it with part of just like some of the instruments that or the drums that I extracted from their song. And this happens like during the break section of the track, where you have the drop and then all of a sudden it breaks down and then this big horn comes in and you can hear like a pitch bend going on and then it pitch bends downward and then upward again. So let me just I'll break it down for you. The Serum, what I did in Serum, it is going to be, I just put the voicing on mono because it's a bass sound. I don't think I changed this envelope very much, like the release is at 25, but what I did do is I was playing around with the pitch bend, and usually it's set at like 2 and -2. So I found that if I raise this up to 3, I could match the pitch a bit better. I don't know if that's how they did it, but that's just what the sound is by itself. And that is just going to be a bit of this soft clip distortion. Let me take this off and we'll go through it one by one. So just a saw wave, randomness at 0, a bit of sub just to give a little bit more low end than I was getting. And then this saturation, soft clipping to round it out a bit. And then after that, then I just added on some more effects. So that's all I did in Serum. It's just, and you pitch bend this. And then you can get this horn sound or this bass stab. And then in the automation of the pitch bend, it's going to be this top one goes up and then to 0 and then it goes back up again. So I'll solo this like that. Now let's add on the effects because I'm doing some other automation in here as well. So let's go ahead and take off that pitch bend automation. Or not take it off, but I'll hide it. Then let me take all these effects off and do this one by one. So then I just added on a sausage fattener. And then I added on a EQ, and I felt like the sound in the track was a bit warmer, didn't have too much high end. Now with a saw wave, you have a lot of high end. It just because the nature of the actual wave table is going to add a lot of harmonics. So I just used an EQ8 to cut off a lot of that top end, just to match it with like the track a bit more. Then we have the reverb, which it sounds pretty dry, like as this comes in, and then almost sounds like the reverb comes back up in it. So let me just play the reverb here. Now you don't have to do that automation, like if you want this sound to have all the reverb as it comes in. You could even automate that reverb up more. That's just how you get that horn sound, is really just having a really good reverb, figuring out the reverb to use. Now I'm just using Valhalla Vintage Verb, and let's see what I did. I'm using the mix at 33%. I made some adjustments. I went into this Echo Verb, and as a preset, changed the color. Maybe the color was 80, but I adjusted the EQ a bit, and then this shape, and just, you can copy all these settings, see what I did to get it exact. And then after that, just to match it a bit with the track, I added on a utility plugin. I probably could maybe use like a compressor to compress it so that it wasn't like, well, actually I feel like it was, because here's the waveform. You can see it's louder, and then it gets quieter, and then it gets a bit louder. So I just did it a bit where I just decreased it to -2 dB, and then maybe I could have increased it again to match it. So maybe I'll match it. Let's just do this. Raise it up a bit. Hear how that sounds. Maybe just automating the level a bit, and then you could just freeze this as a freeze this as like an audio file, freeze and flatten that, and then you have a nice sample to use. So very simple sound, but I think it was like really effective. And if you ever, I don't know, saw them performing this song out, then you know how like big this actually sounded in front of sounds in front of like a whole audience. So pretty cool sound, and I just wanted to break that down because it was relatively like easy to make. So if you want to make this style of horn, then load up a saw wave, add some saturation, and then just find a really nice reverb that you can play around with, and that will give you that epic horn sound. You can see my decay on here is like 10 seconds. So really long reverb. Now, if you do want to grab this sound, I'll put it in my Patreon. If you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a like, and also please subscribe to my channel if you are not yet subscribed. And if you'd like to check out any of my senior preset packs, head on over to store.samsmyers.com.